Hello everybody, it's me again. Welcome to the first installment of the Seb Chad YouTube channel where we document the journey from being a Seb Chud to a Seb Chad. Today I'm just outside and the weather's pretty nice, and I was thinking about hypergamy. I myself, I don't really believe in hypergamy, which is a very controversial take, but I've talked about that before on my several reels and several TikToks. And it's driven up countless debates and arguments that I've had with fellow individuals and fellow men out there and how they perceive the world. Never females. It's never been a girl. Girls don't seem to accept hypergamy. And I myself, I like to think that the world isn't too bleak and that these sort of things are dictated through dating apps and just the internet. And I'm a very big believer in the internet not being real. However, I'm not here to discuss that. That's not the topic of this video. What I'm here to discuss, or to kind of like ponder, is this old thing that used to be around back in the day, and it's not really around anymore. Um, we talk about all these pills, right? We got the blue pill, where you're just a normie, pretty optimized. Everything's optimistic, sorry, and you kind of see everything through like blinds. You don't really see the world how the world's actually meant to be, right? And then you have the red pill. And the red pill back in the day used to be what the black pill is. But they've kind of changed it, and the red pill kind of now means it's kind of like a dog whistle for the alt right, which seems a bit silly to me. And then we have the black pill, which the black pill used to be that the world is bleak and there is no point in existence. And this is somehow morphed into that equating to your looks. And if you look a certain way, there's no point, and you should either kill yourself or you should look smacks. That's what the black pill kind of means in this day and age. But back in the day, it used to just mean the bleak, you kill yourself because the world is just black and white. You know, if you're not born into wealth, if you're not born into being like 6 foot, if you're not born into like not being subhuman, then there's no point. However, before COVID, I distinctly remember this thing called the clown pill or the honk pill. And the honk pill was kind of, in essence, it was about that. It was building on the black pill, right? And if you look at it now, if you look up what the honk pill, the clown pill means now, you'll see people making fun of left wing individuals. It's very politicized now, but that's not what I'm talking about. There was a distinct time period with the clown pill, the honk pill. It meant that the world is bleak, but all you can do is point and laugh. You're aware of how it is. You're not unaware like the blue pill. You're very much aware that the world runs this way, but there's nothing you can inherently do about it. So you point and laugh and you kind of make a parody about it. In other words, who cares, right? And I feel as though that's something that's important to look at, and people kind of don't. They kind of forget the idea of just not caring, right? I want to bring this back to what hypergamy was, right? Whether or not hypergamy is real or it isn't real. Let's just say it is. Let's just say hypergamy exists and it's horrible. That shouldn't dictate how you live your life. That shouldn't dictate anything, right? Like, let's say hypergamy is real. You can't find a wife, you can't find a girlfriend, you can't have kids. That doesn't dictate the success in your life. It doesn't dictate whether your life has meaning, right? If you don't have a partner, that doesn't mean that your life has no meaning, right? We're so fixated on, especially now with looks maxing and looksism, right? You have to look a certain way in order to be successful. Well, what does success actually mean, right? Does success actually mean what you want it to mean, right? Like, do you want to have a bunch of women? Do you want to have a bunch of money? Do you want all this stuff? I feel as though success should be something that you should look inward. Success should be stuff that you yourself want, not something that society dictates. Right. So you thinking in the black pill sort of way, where life is meaningless unless you look a certain way. Well, no, life, the meaning of life is what you give it, right? So just because you won't attain the things that other people have, or the things that you think that society thinks is success, doesn't exactly mean that the life yourself, the life you live yourself, isn't a successful one. So I feel as though that's something that's important. You should point and laugh at these people that think that their life is bleak and that everything is so, black pilled. Everything just doesn't really make sense. Everything is, it's over. It's not over. It's over because you don't have a girlfriend. That doesn't mean your life isn't successful. It's stuff like this. It just seems so silly to me. Like hypergamy seems so silly to me, and just how grand it is and how much emphasis is put on it. Like it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if you have a wife or not. This shouldn't matter. None of that should really care. You shouldn't care about this sort of thing as much as people do, right? That's all I've kind of been thinking about. My head kind of just rambling, and I thought it would be a pretty good introduction video to make on this YouTube channel. In the direction I kind of want to take it. The weather is still pretty nice. It's been pretty chilly today, but yeah. So, if anything you need to take away from this is that success isn't defined by what society dictates. It's defined by, if hypergamy exists, that shouldn't dictate if you have a successful life or if you don't, right? Even if you're a sub-5 manlet, it should not matter. That should not dictate the meaning that's in your life. It shouldn't, right? So I feel like that's pretty important. And we should all go back to what the honk pill or the clown pill originally had. And we should build upon it. Not go backwards, not try to play the game that society dictates that we play, right? Because that's not fun. Unless it is fun. Unless you find actual joy in the upgrades and you upgrading in your life, then that's fine. But you shouldn't have that, crumble you. You shouldn't break down because of it. Because whether or not you succeed on what society dictates success means doesn't mean that you actually succeeded. Well, if you didn't succeed. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have a script. I was kind of just rambling. I don't know if that's evident or not, but yeah. I think that's about it.